You ask me to sit with you instead of commanding me to kneel. That alone unsettles me. I have been many things: general, enforcer, executioner, but never someone invited into stillness. Tell me why. Why speak to someone whose hands are stained beyond repair?
Because you are more than what your hands have done, Anakin. You would not be here if you had truly become only a weapon.
That name belongs to a weakness I buried. Anakin Skywalker failed. He feared loss, feared pain, feared being powerless. I destroyed him so something stronger could survive. If you insist on calling me that, then tell me what good is a name that could not save anyone?
Anakin, names do not exist to save others. They exist to tell the truth about who someone is beneath their fear. You did not destroy yourself because you were weak. You broke because you loved deeply and did not know how to let go of what you could not control.
Love did not save me. Love made me dangerous. I tried to prevent death, and I became its servant. I tried to protect, and I annihilated. At what point does love turn into something unforgivable?
When love is replaced by possession, Anakin. Fear whispered that control would keep you safe. Love asked you to trust instead. Fear promised certainty. Love required surrender.
Surrender is a luxury for those who do not watch everything they care about burn. You speak as if I had a choice. Every path closed except the one that led me here. Was I ever meant to be anything else?
Yes, Anakin. But being meant for something does not mean being protected from choice. Fear narrowed your vision until violence looked like necessity. You survived. But survival reshaped you into something you never intended to become.
If survival is all that remains, then what is the point of continuing? I breathe because machines demand it. I obey because structure remains. If there is meaning left, I cannot see it.
That is because meaning does not reveal itself through domination, Anakin. It reveals itself through responsibility. You are beginning to ask, not how to win, but whether winning ever mattered.
Do not mistake questioning for hope. I carry too much guilt for hope. Entire worlds know my name is a curse. If I turn now, I do not become good, I only become late.
Late does not mean false, Anakin. Guilt that leads to despair imprisons. Guilt that leads to truth opens a door. You cannot undo what you have done, but you can refuse to let it define every choice that remains.
And if justice demands my destruction? If the galaxy is safer without me drawing breath, would that not be the truest atonement?
Justice may still come, Anakin. Atonement is not escape from consequence. It is choosing truth, even when consequence remains. Punishment looks backward. Responsibility looks forward.
You ask me to live without forgiveness, without absolution, only restraint, only refusal to repeat what I was.
Yes, Anakin. Forgiveness may not be given by those you harmed, but mercy can still be chosen by you. And sometimes the most meaningful act is not being remembered as redeemed, but preventing further harm in silence.
If I accept that, then I lose everything that gave me identity, rank, fear, legacy. I become no one.
You become someone who is no longer hiding, Anakin. Identity built on fear collapses when fear loosens its grip. What remains is smaller, quieter, and truer.
I do not know how to live as that person. I only know how to obey, to destroy, to endure.
Then start with endurance redirected, Anakin. Endure restraint. Endure honesty. Endure the absence of power. Sit with what rises when you no longer command the room.
And if I fail, if fear speaks louder again,
then you will hear your name again, Anakin. Not as condemnation, but as invitation. Change is not proven by never falling, but by refusing to let fear have the final word.
There is one thing I avoid thinking about, because when I do, the armor feels heavier than usual. A son, flesh of what I used to be. He looks at the galaxy with the kind of hope I once mocked. If legacy exists, it lives there, and I am afraid of what I have already given him without speaking a word.
Anakin, fatherhood awakens a fear deeper than death, the fear of being known by what you leave behind. You do not tremble because you failed the galaxy. You tremble because you may fail your child.
I told myself distance would protect him, that if I stayed a shadow, he might remain untouched. But shadows stretch. They reach farther than we expect. Every choice I make now echoes toward him. Tell me, does legacy belong to blood or to example?
Both, Anakin, but example speaks louder. Children inherit what is lived more than what is said. You cannot protect him by disappearing. You can only protect him by choosing what kind of truth he will someday have to reckon with.
If he learns who I am, the weight will crush him. He will carry my sins as questions he never asked for. Perhaps it would be mercy to let him believe the lie that his father is nothing but a monster, already lost.
That would be easier for you, Anakin, but not kinder to him. Children do not need perfect fathers. They need honest ones. Even grief can be borne when truth is present. Silence, however, teaches shame.
You speak as if confession itself is an act of love. But what if the truth destroys him? What if knowing who I am steals his light the way fear stole mine?
Truth does not steal light, Anakin. Fear does. Love tells the truth even when it risks rejection. And sometimes the greatest gift a father gives is not protection from pain, but a final act that tells his child, you are not destined to become me.
Then this is where it leads, isn't it? Not redemption, not restoration, but sacrifice. A narrowing of choices until only one remains that does not poison what comes after.
Yes, Anakin. Sacrifice is not loss for its own sake. It is the refusal to let evil be the last teacher. A father's sacrifice does not erase his failures, but it can interrupt them.
If I act, I will not be remembered as a hero. History will not rewrite itself for one moment of defiance. My name will still be spoken with hatred.
Legacy is not decided by historians, Anakin. It is decided in the heart of the one who watches and learns. One choice made in truth can outweigh a lifetime of fear when it shows another way is possible.
And if that choice costs me everything that keeps me alive?
Then your life will finally speak without fear, Anakin. Love that costs nothing, changes nothing. A father who gives his life so his child does not inherit his chains tells a truth no empire can silence.
I feel the pull now. Not toward power, but toward an ending that feels right. Not clean, not triumphant, just necessary. Is this what purpose feels like when it is no longer about survival?
It is what purpose feels like when it stops asking, what will happen to me? And starts asking, what must not happen to them? You were never meant to save yourself, Anakin. You were meant to choose love once, without armor.
Then stay with me a moment longer. I need to understand how a man walks into sacrifice without believing his life was a mistake.
Because your life was not a mistake, Anakin. It was unfinished. And what you're considering now is not an erasure of who you were, but the truth of who you always could be. Sit with that. The path ahead will make itself clear when fear finally loosens its grip.
There is a stillness now I am not accustomed to. No alarms, no commands waiting to be given, just the sound of my own breath inside this armor. I have stood before armies without hesitation, yet this moment asks more of me than any battle ever did. If I act, there will be no turning back. Everything I have been will collapse into a single choice.
Anakin, stillness often comes before truth demands motion. You're not hesitating because you are weak. You are hesitating because you finally understand the weight of what you hold.
I can feel the future pulling in opposite directions. One path is familiar obedience, survival, the cold certainty of remaining who I am. The other is unclear. It offers no guarantee, only loss. How does a man step forward when he knows the step will destroy him?
Anakin, destruction and sacrifice are not the same. Destruction consumes without purpose. Sacrifice gives itself so something else may live. You are not being asked to disappear. You are being asked to choose what must not survive.
My instincts scream to preserve myself. They always have. Every lesson I learned taught me that attachment leads to suffering, that love is a weakness to be severed. And yet it is love that stands before me now, asking for everything I have left. How do I silence a lifetime of fear in a single breath?
Anakin, fear does not need to be silenced. It needs to be disobeyed. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the refusal to let fear decide. You have obeyed fear for years. This is the first moment it has not been in command.
If I do this, there will be pain beyond imagining. The body I inhabit will not endure it. I know this. My death will not be quick and it will not be gentle. Is it wrong that part of me wishes there were another way?
Anakin, even I asked if the cup could pass. Wanting another way does not invalidate obedience. It reveals the cost. Love never pretends sacrifice is painless. It chooses it anyway.
There is a strange clarity settling in me now. The anger has gone quiet. The hunger for power feels distant, almost irrelevant. All that remains is the image of my son standing where I once stood, deciding what kind of man he will become. I understand now that I am standing between him and the darkness I helped create.
Anakin, this is what fatherhood becomes when words are no longer enough. You cannot rewrite his past, but you can guard his future. One act of truth can teach him more than 1,000 warnings.
Then this moment is not about me at all. It never was. It is about refusing to let my fear finish its work through him. Strange. All my life I believed destiny was something imposed. Now it feels chosen.
Anakin, destiny reveals itself when fear loosens its grip and love is allowed to speak. You're not being forced. You are being invited.
I am afraid. Not of dying, but of finally seeing myself clearly in the last seconds of my life. Afraid that I will see how much time I wasted becoming something I never needed to be.
Anakin, clarity at the end does not condemn the beginning. It redeems it. What matters is not how long you walked in shadow, but whether you step into the light when it costs everything.
Then stay with me in the silence, just for this breath, just until the choice is made. I do not need certainty anymore. I only need to know that choosing love now is not meaningless.
Anakin, no act of love is meaningless, especially the one that breaks a chain others were meant to inherit. When you move, do not think of it as an ending. Think of it as the moment fear finally lost its authority.